Hey everyone, tonight we're going to take some photos of the Vivo X70 Pro. I didn't say bro, I said Pro. And we're going to compare the preview to the completed processed photo and see what a difference the processing of the phone makes, because that is very important, especially when you're using night mode. The weather's beautiful outside and it's a great time to begin our photo test. Let's begin. Right, let us begin our comparison by going to night mode. Let's click our first photo. So now the phone is on a tripod below and it says 5 seconds. Let's begin. Fairly simple. As you can see, the right side of the image, the top right of the image over here, this is really dark. So I'm interested to see what the phone does. Now notice that the top right is dark, and just remember this image right now. Let's compare this to what the phone has processed. Wow, you can see the tree here is actually visible. But if you go back to the camera preview, it's not, which means those 5 seconds were worth something. Wow, it focused on my hand. Moving on to the next photo. In this scene, the sky is really dark up here, but look at this side of the image, and you can see that it's really, really underexposed. Let's see what the phone can do in 5 seconds. Let's begin. And now I want you to remember this image and remember what you're looking at on the screen, because we're going to compare this to the next photo that's processed. Wow. So as you can see, the sky is a bit more visible. These trees are more visible, and the grass over here is a lot more visible. Compare this to the original, and you can see these areas are much more underexposed. Next photo. Right, this image is a challenge because here we have a really dark area and here we have a really bright area. And we're going to see what the phone can do with these dark and bright areas. And let's see if it can really fix the exposure of the image and make it look more equal. In 5 seconds, wow. Seems to be a bit of a pattern here. Right, now remember this image, it's dark over here and it's bright over here and here. Now let's look at the processed image. Now you can see stuff here. You can see the grass, and you can see that it's reduced the exposure of the light over here. Vivo's HDR algorithm, I say this again and again, is really, really aggressive. As you can even see almost the light bulbs inside these street lights, which some people like, some people don't. But yeah, that's what the phone does. Next. Right, this is a challenge because of the sheer darkness of the image. That's why it says 15 seconds below. It does not say extreme night mode in this case, but let's go. What I'm expecting is that the trees on the upper right part of the image will be much more clear and visible. I'm also expecting the shadow on the right side of the image to be more visible. I want you to remember mind memory, these trees over here. I want to remember these trees. They're blackened out, but when you look at the processed image, they are visible. And that is what you get for 15 seconds of exposure time. Also note that these trees are much more visible, and the shadow has become not much of a shadow anymore because the phone has exposed this area, hence the importance of long exposure in night photos. Next photo. Right, this is a tough image because you have an extremely bright area right here and an extremely dark area right here. This, I think, will show us what the phone is capable of and really test it at its limits. Let's go. Wow, only 5 seconds, huh? I'm interested to see what the phone does because there's so much dark right here. These areas right here, these are not visible. But if you go to the processed photo, will they be visible? Yes. You can see that the trees are visible. More trees are visible. And if you go to the light, it's completely visible. Compare this to what you see with the camera. And it looks much darker to my eyes, by the way. Next photo. On a side note, guys, the sky is beginning to clear up. And if it clears up enough, I think we could use Astro mode. And that's going to be really exciting. Anyway, really dark down here. Really bright over here. Let's see what the phone can do in 9 seconds. Okay, I don't know how it chooses the exposure time, but but it's really interesting. The phone's like, I'll do it in 9 seconds. Now I want you to remember again this image. Remember what this looks like? Dark, dark, super bright over here. But when you look at the processed image, it's like, wow, everything is visible and sharp at that. It's not just visible, it's sharp and clear. Look at the grass, it's sharp. And if you look at the light over here, this lantern, this street light, it's visible. And as you can see, very familiar pattern, the phone is just exposing everything. Technically, this phone just exposes everything around it, like exposed, you know. I'm sorry about that. Next. I would call this one an easy one for the phone because you have lots of light sources here. And essentially, the more light sources you have, the more light you have, the easier it is for the phone. And that's why it says like 9 seconds down here. But look at the ground, look at the lower third of the image, and it's really black and darked out. So I want to see what the phone can do. I really like the animation on the right side when the photo is being taken. It reminds me of the moon. Look down and you'll see, wow, the grass is crisp and visible. And if you look up, the sky is also nice and visible. It's blue, there's blue in the sky. Now, some people might not like the sheer aggressiveness of this algorithm, how it turns night into almost day, you could say. But if you don't like it, you can just click and reduce the exposure time. And watch this, faster exposure, and you get a darker photo. So you have a lot of choice with this phone. You have a lot of choice. Anyways, let's try something different. Right, I'm not going to say any miracle is going to happen, but let's see what happens when we point the phone upwards. Wow. Extreme night 4 seconds. Okay, this phone has some extremely ambitious ideas. But if we click here and we go to Astro, you can shoot the stars apparently. Now it'll say a longer time period, like 1 minute and 8 seconds. That's oddly specific. Let's go. Now I'm not going to show you the entire thing because you'll get bored. Wait for 1 minute and 8 seconds. Right. The phone is done taking the photo. It's been 1 minute and 8 seconds. Let's look at the photo. Now I want you to remember what you're looking at right now so you can compare this to the photo. Okay, so there's no grain. Zoom in and you can see some stars. Usually there are a lot more. I think the reason for this is because it's just really cloudy today. But still, I think this could be considered at least a story worthy photo on Instagram, or maybe like you could use this for stock images in your videos. Let's try something different. Astro mode is off now. This is an interesting scenario where we have an extremely blacked out sky and you can't even see my hand. And you can see these two lights over here. Yeah, those lights are going to test the dynamic range. Let's go. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. I'm sorry, I love SpaceX. Anyway, dark sky, dark grass. But if you look at the photo the phone's taken, the grass is clearly visible. And the sky is also somewhat visible, but it still looks like a night photo. It hasn't turned night into day, so it looks really good. And the lights, again, as always, are visible and they're not blown out, they're not overexposed. Let's try a different scenario. Here the phone has a lot of work to do because these trees are blacked out, and if it exposes them they need to be sharp, and at the same time the grass is also blacked out. But at this point I think the phone's going to do a cakewalk of this. Let's see what the phone can do. I would like to note that there are barely any stars in the sky. Usually there are a lot more of them, and when there are, I will be sure to show it to you guys. Wow. So remember that the trees, look at this, the trees are blacked out here, but if you look at the photo, they are visible. And they're not just visible, they're sharp. And if you look at the grass, the same applies to the grass too. And these rocks, wow, it looks absolutely majestic. I love this photo. It's like if you want to use this as your university website photo, I think I would go for it because it looks really clear and sharp and could be used on a big screen on a website. Anyways, moving on to our last photo. This is an absolutely beautiful path that goes to nowhere. You just bump into a tree. But anyway, let's take a photo of this. It looks absolutely majestic. 15 seconds? Wow, I'm actually pretty shocked because there is a fair amount of light here. But anyways, I think this is going to pump out an absolutely beautiful photo because the trees, they really look good. The image's composure looks really good. Let's see. Okay, so it's done a good job, but there's still a blacked out tree over here, or bush or something. I don't know what that is, but it's blacked out. Still, I think this looks like a wonderful photo because you can see the flowers over here on the bottom left. Anyways, let's thanks for watching and subscribe for more videos like this. Let me know if you think there's anything I can improve in the comment section below, and I will try to do it. I'll see you in the next camera test. Bye. I mean, good night.